President.
What a nice crowd. Diana, was this a big crowd last month when I was in California? Driving up the coast with the wind blowing through my rapidly receding hairline. Good to see everybody. Great turnout, what a great day. A few things as we start here. Feel free to ask questions throughout, but especially we'll have some time at the end. So if questions arise, feel free to hold those to the end, or if it makes sense, you can ask it during presentations as well. You are being recorded. Everybody knows the drill. Turn around and say hello to the camera. You are being recorded. Reminder that Rudy's Memorial Gathering is this Friday at 1:30. You're all welcome to attend, of course. It's meant for us as a community, so please feel free to attend that. You're invited. We're welcoming Diana Delgado as our new CEO this Thursday in 2 days, 1:30 in this very room. And you're, of course, welcome to attend that as well. Good chance to greet Diana. Many of you know her, but she's in a new role now, so greet her in her new role. Craft Market is coming up November 6th, Saturday. Lots of good stuff going on there. I'm going to talk a little bit more about it. In one of the later slides, there's some other things going on besides crafts, but all sorts of wonderful things there. Jewelry, scarves, art, gifts, and more. And the more is also some baked goods that are going to benefit our biannual Advent project. We do one as a community, those of you who remember. It's been 3 years now because of that COVID stuff. But 3 years ago, we drilled a water well in Africa, if you remember that. We raised the money to do that. This year, we are doing our biennial community Advent project, and we are adopting 24 local neighborhood kids who are low income, and we are providing Christmas for them. So it's going to be a neat thing. Encourage you to, we will first or second week of November have the first 2 Christmas trees up, holiday trees, in the 2 lobbies, and on those trees will be tags with kids' gifts requests. Most of them are going to be in the $20 to $30 area. You're welcome to take one of those tags, and you can team up and do it. You can buy the gift, bring it back to Jeannie or myself in the Mission Ministry office unwrapped, or if you would rather, you're welcome to just write out a check for that amount as well, and we'll do the shopping for you. They do need to be unwrapped, and they need to be new. So there'll be a wide variety of stuff, and it's a neat way for us to really reach out to our neighborhood and show them that we want to love our neighbors. Let's talk about the inevitable things in life. Does anybody remember that quote? Our new Constitution has now established everything seems to promise it will be durable, but in this world nothing is certain except death and taxes. Does anybody remember whose quote that is? Benjamin Franklin.
He's so right.
But I got to thinking, there's a lot more inevitable stuff just than death and taxes. There's a lot of stuff that seems like it's inevitable in our life. Things breaking after the warranty expires. You can buy a new TV, a new car, new hearing aids, new whatever, and 17 days after the warranty expires, it will break. It's inevitable. You can have been craving something from your grocery store, from your favorite restaurant, from the dining room, craving it, and when you get there, sorry, we're sold out. And there's a side note to that. The more you've been craving it, the longer you've been craving it, the more likely it is to be sold out. Inevitable. Have you ever noticed when you're buying something, you're paying cash for it, the total always comes up to something 03, like $6.03, and you never have 3 cents in your pocket. So you end up with 97 cents change back. It's inevitable. You do not have 3 cents in your pocket. Have you ever thought that the more important the meeting that you have, you're meeting somebody for the first time, maybe grandkids, fiance, something like that, the more important the meeting, the more likely it is something bad about your appearance is going to go on. We know about wardrobe malfunctions. I call those appearance malfunctions. And some examples are, for example, you've got toilet paper on your shoe. You got spinach in your teeth. Or, I think mostly for men, you forgot to zip your fly. Appearance malfunctions. The more important the meeting, the more likely it happens, it's inevitable. And a good inevitable. The nicer you are to other people, the nicer they are to you. It's another inevitable for sure. And speaking of being nice, we've got some new residents to introduce. I'm not sure who all is here. Thank you, Ali, if you wouldn't mind. Jack Kessler, third floor residence. Is Jack here? I do not see Jack. Oops, sorry. Nice try. Not even close. Joy Brown. Is Joy here? Joy, welcome. Let's give Joy a round of applause. Chris Stongren. Is Chris Stongren here? Strongren. Right here. I saw you come in. You're welcome to this because this week's desserts. Welcome, Chris. Thank you. Is Barbara Buckmaster here? Barbara is in the new back row. Is James Potter here?
Yeah, I believe I am.
Welcome. Is Joan Peck here? I don't see Joan. You pull that one off a little bit better. A little bit. Is Carol Martinez here? I don't see Carol. Yeah, lots of volunteers. Have you noticed this is a volunteering kind of crowd? Yeah. Is Stella Martinez here? Stella, raise your hand. Stella gets a dessert because I was desperately looking for my keys. And Stella looked at me, she said, "What's that in your front shirt pocket?"
There you go. Good eye.
The truth is, Stella, I would have found them in a couple weeks when I did laundry. But thank you for noticing. Marianne Mulligan.
The tone gets not so somber when my name is announced.
Marianne Mulligan.
I'm sorry about that. My name is Marianne Mulligan. I'm the Executive Director for the whole community. For those of you who do not know me, welcome to those first-timers to this meeting. And again, I'd like to second what Jim Ward said. It's so wonderful to see so many of you here at this beneficial meeting. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the power outage we had several weeks ago now on a weekend. It started Saturday morning. Many of you recall that morning, I'm assuming. So a couple reminders for all of you. We do sit on an old power grid here in Lakewood. So power outages can happen frequently. The good news is that they usually last for a very short period of time, anywhere from 15 minutes to 30 minutes. On occasion, we can have an extended power outage. That Saturday in question, 2 transformers blew across the street and affected not only our property, but various, the surrounding neighborhood as well. So it is critical for you to manage your needs through a power outage, whether it be on the weekend or during the business day. You need to be prepared with a working flashlight. You know how you say, "Yes, Marianne, I have a working flashlight," and you go to that flashlight and the batteries are corroded and it's not going to work for you? So please double check that you have a working flashlight in your apartment. Also, if the power outage were to be an extended time frame, anywhere where your food, for any length of time where your food might spoil in your refrigerator, we recommend that you have some non-perishable foods in your apartment, such as peanut butter and crackers, tuna and crackers, anything that wouldn't need to be heated up, because you won't have that ability because your stove and oven will not work. To emphasize that this is independent living, So you are all expected to be able to manage your own emergency. That power outage was very frightening for many of our residents, and many of our residents were unsure as to what to do. Many of our residents were expecting staff to come on site. We did have staff on site because so many things were affected that day, including our elevators. More on that in a moment when Michael comes up to the podium. But typically you need to be prepared to manage through those unsettling events such as a power outage. And that really is our most credible threat to our community, is that power outage. You also have some very helpful information in your handbook under resident safety, and then there's a subheading there about power outages. So please take time relatively soon to read over that information if you haven't recently. All right, any questions? We could do questions at the end, or we can do questions right here. Yes?
I noticed when the power goes out in my apartment, I'm up on the 6th floor, that only half of the apartment goes out. Why is that? I have?
That's most of the apartments in the building.
So and you live here in the residences?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to answer that twofold, and I'm going to have Michael come up here too. So if you live in the Summit and you notice that you've got power in some outlets and not others, and some things are working and not other appliances, that is because some of those outlets in the Summit are tied to the generator.
Same with the rest.
And Michael's just feeding me into my ear that also happens in the residences.
Oh, okay.
So some of those outlets are tied to the generator, and there are certain breakers that feed that generator then that will feed those outlets.
Okay.
Okay. Yes.
I have a pacemaker now. What do I do when the monitor doesn't show the green light?
The question on the floor is if you have any durable medical equipment that is not working during a power outage, you need to seek guidance from your medical professional on that. I don't have a solution for you. We do not have emergency outlets any longer. Once we shut assisted living, those emergency outlets went away. So if you're running low on oxygen, or a durable medical equipment is giving you vital information about your health, you would need to either A, call 911, or call your medical provider to get advice on that issue.
Thank you.
You bet.
They can also just check their apartment, because half of my apartment was dark and half of it wasn't.
Yeah, so
They could check and see if they have power in any of their outlets.
thank you. The suggestion was that you may be in an apartment that has some outlets that might be fueled or serviced by that generator, so you would need to check. But we honestly, I don't know if we have a list of those apartments affected. We do not. We do not know what absolute outlets are powered by that generator. Okay. So that is a very helpful suggestion. Any other questions before we move on to the next topic? Okay. All right.
Michael, I didn't do a slide for you, but why don't
No.
you just
Yeah,
start?
Michael, did you want to add anything to that power outage weekend? Michael has no further comment about this topic.
Nothing else you need.
I'll do a couple of just things, but
Do it.
greetings, friends. Just a few updates for everyone. You'll see still on the first floor.
Take it away from you.
Take it away. Take it away, Jim. You'll see we have some of these ceiling tiles on the first floor still open, exposing some of the pipe work. We're slated for, I believe, the week of the 8th to have the rest of that plumbing work finished and done. for us. It's been a long road, but next couple of weeks, all that should be done, and then we will cover all of that beautiful new copper back up again. But just know that it's there, and it's great, and it's new, and that's good for America. Couple of things on the elevators. I apologize for the continued weirdness we're having with them. Our programming work is slowly progressing with these elevators. One of the big dilemmas that we had was how our elevator communicates to the emergency fire panel. And what we ended up needing to do is replace the fire panel here in the residences, which took us a few months to get that part in because of all the chip issues and port congestion and all this kind of thing. But we did get that part in. That part was installed last week, and it is looking to be that week of the 8th. The remainder of that programming will be finished, and that elevator should run smoother, because during a power outage, that small cab should continue to operate for emergencies. Over in the Summit building, that Summit elevator runs on emergency battery backup power if needed. Now, if it were the case of a fire, all of those would be shut down and not operational during a fire. But through a normal power outage, we should still have access of one of those cabs. So, but that didn't happen due to our programming issues that we're having there. So hopefully that will all be corrected and rectified that week of the 8th. The other inconvenience I'm going to talk to you about is, remember this, might have been June. We have that wonderful time of year where we come in and we set off the smoke detector in your apartment. And we only have to do that once a year for fire code. However, now that we have a new fire panel, we have to recheck all of those due to fire code. So notice will be going out in the near future for another test of all those detectors, and we will have 1 or 2 days of bothering everyone in your apartment and making sure your detector works. But it is for your safety. We have to verify that this new panel we have is communicating to the detectors like we believe it is. All the tests are indicating that everything's fine, it's working, and there have been a few residents that have burned some toast over the weekend, and we got calls about that. I'm not going to talk about that. That's fine, it all happens. So far we're getting clear signals that that system is working well, but we do have to manually test again. That will be coming up soon. Other than that, I think we're up to speed with most things. Just a couple of reminders with your trash. Please make sure all trash is bagged when you put it in the waste receptacle on your floor, and make sure all your recycle is loose in the recycle bin. And of paramount importance, styrofoam never has and never will be recyclable. Please do not put styrofoam or plastic bags in the recycle bin. We've been having some more issues with that. Those items are not recyclable.
Mike,
Yes?
you don't want the plastic water bottles bagged up for recycling?
No. All recycle has to be loose in there, yes. Yep. We do want a plastic bag for all trash. We want no plastic bags for recycle and no styrofoam, because those two items we can't recycle. And if they're in there and they get dumped, we end up getting a fine from waste management.
Okay, it's not going to go in the garbage, it's not going to recycle. How do you get rid of it? Styrofoam.
That goes in the trash.
With the food?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, all your styrofoam containers and any extra bags you get, maybe from King Super or something like that, that all just goes in your trash. Bag that up and put that in the trash. All right. But all recyclable, all your plastic bottles, all your glass bottles, all your cardboard, that can go in the recycle bin and loose. And there's boards in there that kind of remind you if you can see that small on there. I know there's a lot of information on those boards, but that gives you some guidance if you have questions or concerns there, but everybody's doing great. Any questions for me? Yes?
In the elevator, the railing in the large one, I think it's upside down or backwards, because it's, the sharp edge of it is next to where you punch the.
Yeah, we've gotten some comments on that. That's a design feature. It isn't a sharp enough edge that causes any damage. That's kind of how it was designed and put in, and that meets our state and federal code. That was a permitted design plan for
I
that.
got kind of crammed in there when a bunch of people were in there, and I got jostled and I got a bump on my hip
Yeah,
from the edge.
so let's be careful not to overcrowd the elevators. Yes?
You could go into the trash containers, get some of that styrofoam, a little bit, and you could cover it all.
Brilliant ideas. Brilliant. Anything else for me? I wish you well. Happy day.
My turn. All right. If you have not met me before, I'm Allie McTeasick. I'm the Director of Life Enrichment. I am also currently the bus driver. I also help out with tech things, so many hats. So, if you are new to Eaton, and you would like to kind of know what's going on with all of the activities, how do I register for activities, I have provided a little card on your door when you first moved in about Touchtown. If you would like to know more about that, I will be staying after the meeting and I can help you download that app. I send messages out that way. Your resident handbook is in there. There's calendars. There's all kinds of great stuff. So if you are not signed up for Touchtown, make sure that you stay after the meeting and I can help you with that. The second thing, one of my new hats, I am now officially trained in senior planet classes. So you will start seeing on the calendar, I have some lectures that are going to be coming up about using the internet, what is cloud storage, a lot of different classes and lectures. I'm also going to be offering an iPad class. If I knew that you were an iPad owner, I did send out some invitations. It's going to be a 5-week class that's going to meet for 1 hour on Tuesday, starting November 9th, which is a Tuesday. So if you're interested in that, please let me know. And I'm going to be starting to do some more computer classes, but that's kind of our first jump start, so I'm very excited about that. So if you want to sign up for any of those things, please let me know, and stay after the meeting if you need any help with Touchdown.
Thank you.
Somebody yell at Sarah.
Sarah.
No, nice ringtone, guys. So I'm Sarah Schroeder. For those of you that also do not know me, I'm the wellness director here at Eaton. I help you with many of your clinics. We've got a big one coming. I've been working on it all morning. It will be a COVID booster clinic. Each of you should have gotten a notice on your door. It had been moved from October to November 9th. It will be done by Safeway. It will be done on site. You do not need to go to Safeway store to get your vaccine. It will be done here in the Centrum. Right now I have about 175 people requesting vaccine. That does not include our staff. So this is a huge clinic. We're excited, but I will also need your patience. When you come that day, I'd like to see you plan to be here 30 to 45 minutes. It's going to take us a little bit of time to get everyone vaccinated, but also if you remember from when you had the first series, the part 1 and part 2, we had to sit here in the Centrum for about 15 to 30 minutes, maybe depending on some allergies that we might have had. So when you get your shot, you're going to be expected to sit, and then you'll be allowed to leave after the time that the pharmacist designates. We do have one little glitch. I know many of you filled out consent forms for Bloom Healthcare. Thank you for that. It's been really critical for helping me to plan and making sure that I can include everybody that would like to be involved in this clinic. I also needed to know which vaccine. Those of you that received your vaccine Here at Eaton, earlier this year, between January and March, each of you had Moderna. But some of you may have been out somewhere else and got Pfizer or Johnson & Johnson. So I need to know which one you had to be able to plan so they bring enough vaccine for all of us. Right now, I worked on the schedule and it looks like it's going to be by appointment. If you do not respond, or you said maybe initially I don't want the vaccine, change your mind. I can't promise I'll have extra, but you're welcome to come down and see if there's some vaccine left over. If you're not sure if you're eligible or worried about a health condition or just not sure it's the right thing to do, we know there's a lot of publicity out there. Every time I turn on the TV or anywhere, there's something about the vaccine. Check with your primary care doctor and have that discussion with them, okay? Let's see. Also, if you did not receive a flu shot, you can have a flu shot at this clinic. I will need to know ahead of time to make sure they bring enough vaccine. You can have your booster and a flu shot, and for some of those that might be wanting a shingles vaccine, you can actually have all of those at the same time, okay? Right now, we do not know if our staff will be included. Keep in mind, as Marianne really pointed out, we're an independent living facility, even though we're in a sense healthcare. That may or may not be recognized as the first persons to be offered those booster shots. So as soon as I know that, I'll be alerting our staff, and if they choose, they could be included. Okay? Any questions? Yes, Maureen?
Would you explain why RA people would need the whooping cough? Is it a combination of tetanus and diphtheria and whooping cough? Is it a combination? And would you explain why older people would need that?
Sure. Whooping cough is very contagious.
Why don't you, stand a little closer to the mic, but why don't you repeat that question?
Okay, Maureen's question is, why do people that are older need the whooping cough vaccine? And actually it's very simple. Whooping cough is extremely contagious. And a community like this, we share everything. It's like being in a dorm in college. We're together, we're active, we spend a lot of time with one another. That being said, if whooping cough is present in our community, it could easily go through our community quickly, and many of us could be very, very ill. Another point, I have a new grandson, so I just updated my whooping cough so that if I go to see him, I would not be that carrier to take him as a young child, where it also tends to be in epidemics. Sometimes people with whooping cough, many of you may have grown up with it before the vaccine was as available. It also spreads through children, and oftentimes they can end up in the hospital. Also, too, remember with our tetanus rule of thumb, every 10 years, right? If you've fallen or maybe had a surgery or had some type of an injury, you may have received a tetanus shot. Typically, pertussis is included in that shot. Okay, so more of you may have been vaccinated than you realized.
Should we sign up for the whooping cough?
Absolutely.
That you know?
Absolutely. And sometimes our pharmacies can kind of tell behind the scenes things that we might have had or not had, and they'll make recommendations and they let me know so I can reach out to you.
If you actually had the whooping cough as a child, are you immune? If you actually had the whooping cough as a child?
That's a good question. I don't know, but I would think that you're not necessarily a lifetime immunity.
Still immune.
Yeah. And again, remember the tetanus.
Is all three in one or just the whooping cough?
It would be, it's called Tdap, so it's a mixture of tetanus and then that whooping cough. I see a hand in the back there.
I'm just going to mention that I had a tetanus shot from a dog bite, and when I called later to find out if it was all three of those, it was Tdap, they said no, it was just tetanus.
So they were just giving the tetanus, okay?
And
typically you give older folks a Tdap.
If you have had Tdap, let's say 30 years ago or 20 years ago, is it okay to have another one?
Absolutely. Again, rule of thumb for tetanus is every 10 years. We know there was some shortages, like when we had wartime, there was actually a lot of shortages, but we're back on track.
No, I haven't heard this at all, so is there somewhere we can get that shot?
Absolutely. So you can reach out to me and just call and leave me a message on my phone, and then I'll call you back, and then we'll talk and we'll look at insurance and a couple of things. And again, the pharmacists oftentimes, when they're looking at your vaccine records, if you're saying to me, I want a shingles, they might mention, hey, it looks like you're also due for these other things, because those records are shared across the state and into doctors' offices. Yes, ma'am?
Sarah, how long does the whooping cough? I had one when my first great-grandson was born, and that's been 5 years now. So how long does that whooping cough last, the shot that I got?
So I would say, again, it's usually with the tetanus, but I can check for you to see if you've had it 5 years, if they want to re-inoculate you. But again, typically we just say a 10-year marker. Okay. And then sometimes if I've taken a bad fall or some other type of injury, they might consider updating that sooner. Okay. All right. And then one other thing, you guys, this is a season where their Medicare scammers are out there, and they're calling you and they're trying to trick you out of your plans. Please do not talk to them. If they call, hang up. They're not looking out for you, so don't feel bad if you hang up on them. It doesn't make you a bad person. They're not interested in your well-being. They're going to get that plan because it's an income source. We've had quite a number of folks here get cheated out of the plans that they enjoy. So again, please really look at those calls. If it doesn't look right or you don't recognize the number, simply do not answer the phone. Okay? Yes?
If I've got Medicare now, do I have to renew my Medicare every year?
No. No, you do not have to renew your plan if you're satisfied with it. So don't let them talk you out of it. Okay? All right. We've had a couple of folks here who spend a lot of time getting back on their plans, and this is going to continue for the next couple months. So just, be ready. Okay. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Close.
For you who don't know me, my name is Lynn Wilkins, and I'm a resident in the residences. I'm also the face of emergency preparedness here at Eaton. With the power outage that Marianne just talked about, it brings to the forefront our Eaton Buddy system. If you were one of the people that were stuck downstairs and couldn't get up the stairs because you were walker or wheelchair or whatever, how wonderful it would have been to have a buddy up on your floor that could have walked your dog, fed your cat, whatever was necessary. Your buddies can help you walk your pets. They can feed your animals. Usually you exchange your keys, so you want to have a buddy that is trustworthy with your key. They can pick up your food at the store or the dining room if you're not feeling well. They can make calls to you or check on you just to see if you're doing okay. So I'm going to start resuming the emergency preparedness moments at the forum meetings. And I'm also, in the near future, going to be recruiting a few motivated residents to join the Emergency Preparedness Committee. Any questions? Yes, Steph.
Regarding exchanging keys.
Uh-huh.
I tried to make an extra key at Home Depot and they weren't able to do that. They don't have the keys.
Oh, they don't? Alicia, do you know that?
System or something. Does anybody else?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
That's where I went to get mine done.
Yeah.
Do what? Did somebody say they just got theirs done?
That, I went to Home Depot and got mine done.
And they did do it?
Yeah, somebody who didn't know what they were. Yeah. Home Depot's got a great stock of keys, so I'd be surprised if they did.
And Alicia, I believe, makes keys, or has them made by one of your little elves.
Yeah, you kind of.
Yeah.
I'm a little elf. And yes, you can have an extra duplicate key made. I believe it's $5 for a key replacement. So talk to your leasing manager if you would like Eaton to make you another key that gets put on your leasing manager. So yeah, so if you live in the res, talk to the res leasing manager. If you live in the summit, talk to the summit leasing manager and request a key.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Diana Delgado. I am the president and CEO here at Eaton Senior Communities. And I don't have anything for announcements today, so I'm just going to open it up for questions. If anybody has any questions. Jan?
I don't have a question, but I want to thank Alicia for putting up the sign on the elevator saying it was being used from 9 to 11 for move-in. That was very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, Alicia, for putting up the signage for the move out today. Yesterday. Was that yesterday? It was just today. Any other questions? Lynette?
I will make an announcement.
Oh, good.
I am no longer collecting shoes for Souls for Souls. I have given up my car, and I used to put the Souls for Souls in my trunk. And it got pretty crowded in there. It did, but I was willing to do it and willing to offload it then at any place that I could for Souls for Souls. But I am no longer doing that, so please take care of your own shoes.
Having said that, we do have quarterly clothing drives,
Yes.
and you can bring your used but usable, not your junky, torn up that should be in the trash shoes, but good shoes. We will get those to Jeffco Action Center as part of our quarterly clothing drive, and we usually give you 2 or 3 weeks notice on when that's happening. So once a quarter we do a clothing drive for Jeffco Action Center.
Thank you for all the years that
Yes.
you've done that, Lynette, and happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to Diana.
Thank you. Yes, Lynette and I share a birthday, we do.
A day, not a year. You can choose which year you
Well,
want.
I can, but I doubt that I. You should sing for everyone.
No. You can sing for Lynette.
Everybody ready?
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Diana. Happy birthday to you.
Now this is just a statistical question. There should be 1 or 2 other people in this room whose birthday is today. Anybody else's birthday today? You guys are so loud. Oh, Cheryl. I swear. You may not be allowed here next month.
We've never had to ban anyone.
They are so out of there. So out of there.
Well, if there's no other questions, Jason is ready at the back. Oh, yes, yes.
My question is, what is the policy in Eaton both resident and Summit, about masks, because I noticed that some people wear them, some people don't.
Yes, that's a good question. So the question was, what is our policy about mask wearing? We follow the CDC guidelines, which right now the guidelines are that masks are strongly encouraged. So they're not mandated, they're not required, they're just strongly encouraged. So that is going to be up to each person individually as to whether they wear a mask or not.
Great question.
I have another question.
Is the COVID gone from here? I wish I could say yes, because that would be awesome if it was gone from everywhere. But we are not aware of any cases at this point in time. Now that doesn't mean it's not around. We're just not aware of any cases at this point in time.
And I think one thing in regards to masks too is one of the benefits of the vaccination, Sarah would agree, is that if you have a breakthrough case, it can often be very mild, even to the point you don't even know you have it. So you need to keep that in mind when it comes to your mask wearing decisions. I realized I didn't finish the thought at the opening. I was mentioning the Advent Adopt a Child project that we're doing. The craft fair will also include a bake sale. Lynn and the church are helping sponsoring that, and all the funds for the bake sale will go to this Advent Adopt Our Neighborhood Children program. So.
And we're having jellies and jams.
And jellies and jams.
Not
too.
Liz's, but.
Not Liz's, but jellies and jams. I see a question back there.
Yes. What is our responsibility if a neighbor or we see somebody in distress and they don't want any help?
That's a good question. So the question was, what do we do if we see a neighbor in distress and they don't want any help? So we've run into these situations before, and as staff, our policy is we call 911, and then we leave it up to the paramedics and that individual to decide what needs to happen. That way it's out of our hands, we've done what we can, and if that person still refuses help, they're refusing it from the paramedics directly.
So just go ahead and call
If
911?
that's your comfort level with that, then yes.
Okay.
There was another question, I thought. Richard?
Could you make things easier in the back? I use a debit card. I don't use cash. So could you start making debit cards?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Can you start using debit cards to pay for things?
To pay for food or
Activities, different things like that.
I don't know that, Allie, you don't have a square.
Richard, that's a great question. Thank you for bringing it up. Maybe the sun will
Yeah,
kick
we'll
around.
have to talk about that, Richard. Okay.
Yes.
I pay with my debit card for food.
Yeah, you can definitely use a debit card in the dining room. Correct, Jason? Yes, Jason's nodding yes. But as far as like signing up for activities, Richard, we don't have that capability yet. Maybe that's something we'll talk about. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll talk about that, Richard.
One really, maybe the most important question of the day. Jason, what kind of cookies do we have?
Chocolate.
Chocolate?
Yes.
Chocolate chip? Yes, Leah.
Something you could check into is finding someone that would install an ATM in the building.
We have looked into that.
We've
That
looked
is-
into that several times.
Yeah, that is not an easy task. Yeah. They don't want to do it in a low traffic.
They're not gonna get a lot of traffic here, so they're not gonna put one in, yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's fine.
Tag team.
Okay, from this point on, anybody who asks questions is keeping people from their cookies. Thank you all for coming. We'll see you next month.
Thank you.